already proving with archaeological evidence that everything that was written about this temple was wrong.
For over 2,000 years, people across the world have been searching for one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries, the lost tomb of Cleopatra, the final queen of ancient Egypt. Stories, theories, and countless failed searches have only made the legend grow stronger. But now, astonishing discoveries beneath a forgotten temple may finally expose the truth. Could we be standing at the edge of a breakthrough that changes everything we thought we knew? Secret chambers, mysterious symbols, unexplainable signs. What lies beneath might not just be Cleopatra's burial site. It could be a secret so powerful, the ancient world protected it with everything it had. Before we go further, make sure to subscribe to our channel. We're uncovering powerful truths about archaeology, prophecy, and ancient biblical connections. And trust us, you won't want to miss any of it. Come with us as we explore one of the most fascinating mysteries of our time. It all started when archaeologists unearthed a buried structure near the city of Alexandria. At first it seemed routine, but when word started to leak, everything changed. The world held its breath. This wasn't just another tomb. Its age, design, and precise location all pointed to something extraordinary. Rumors spread like wildfire. Had they finally uncovered the long-lost tomb of Cleopatra VII, Egypt's last true queen? A woman who didn't fight the Romans with weapons, but with intelligence, elegance, and unmatched charm. Buzz spread fast. Journalists and Egyptologists flocked to the scene, but the site was quickly sealed off. The authorities tightened access. Whatever was happening, it was big. Official details were scarce. But one security guard, speaking off the record, hinted that something ancient and powerful was hidden deep inside. He described an energy in the air, like the stone walls were alive, whispering. Was it hype? A publicity stunt? Maybe. But none of that mattered. What mattered was the world couldn't stop talking. Had one of the greatest mysteries in history finally been cracked? Soon the rumors turned into hard headlines. A sealed sarcophagus had been found. Inside it, artifacts marked with Cleopatra's own royal insignia. Some even claimed her official seal had resurfaced, but the Egyptian government said nothing, and their silence only fueled the fire. As the puzzle unfolded, it became clear. This discovery wasn't new. It was part of a much older story. Its roots went back centuries, to an ancient temple long hidden beneath the sands. Its name? Taposiris Magna, a place where time stood still and legends refused to fade. Underground temple. Just a few miles from the coast, nestled between rocky cliffs and shifting sands, sits a temple long forgotten. Built during Egypt's Ptolemaic era, it was left abandoned for most of its history, shrouded in mystery and swallowed by time. But for one woman, this place became a calling. Archaeologist Kathleen Martinez has returned to this site again and again for over a decade. More than a scientist, she's a woman on a mission, driven by a deep belief that Cleopatra and her lover, Mark Antony, were buried right here. Her theory isn't blind hope. It's grounded in ancient records. Writings from the time say Cleopatra wanted to be buried beside Antony, forever united in death. And she saw herself as a living embodiment of the goddess Isis. Taposiris Magna? It was once one of the most sacred sites for Isis worship in all of late Egyptian history. Under its weathered ruins, archaeologists discovered a vast network of underground tunnels. Many remain blocked and buried. But what's been uncovered already is astonishing. Stone carvings of Isis and Antony, Roman coins etched with Cleopatra's image, tombs of powerful priestesses, and strange, unexplained relics that don't match anything from known burial practices. Each find adds another piece to the puzzle, one that might lead to the greatest archaeological discovery of our lifetime. Yet the deeper they dig, the stranger things become. An eerie sense seems to cling to the site, and some say the excavation is haunted. It started subtly. One worker suddenly lost the use of his arm. Another began experiencing terrifying nightmares. Curse of the tomb panic began to spread through the underground corridors. Security cameras captured strange noises, whispers, flashes of light, none of which could be explained by equipment faults or natural causes. Some archaeologists were so unsettled that they refused to continue, claiming the site didn't want to be disturbed. It all started to feel less like an excavation and more like the plot of a supernatural thriller. At first, people laughed it off, but soon even the Egyptian authorities took notice. The area was officially closed to tourists, citing the risk of structural collapse. But behind closed doors, there were whispers of something far older and far more dangerous. A curse. Old legends resurfaced, claiming Cleopatra descended from an ancient bloodline of magicians, and that her tomb was guarded not only by stone and secrecy, but by sacred power. One theory suggests that Cleopatra hid her body on purpose, ensuring her essence would never be disturbed, her legacy sealed away by faith as much as by earth and time. It all might have been dismissed as myth, just local lore, if not for one eerie discovery. A forgotten document tucked away in the archives of the British Museum. It described the final days of Cleopatra's life and included a single chilling detail. The legend says, Cleopatra, the Queen's last day. They say Cleopatra ended her life by letting a venomous snake bite her on the chest, a striking, almost theatrical image. But is it true? Historians still debate it. Some claim it was a serpent, others suggest she drank poison. A few believe she was assassinated, but perhaps the real mystery isn't how she died, it's where. According to ancient documents, Cleopatra was last seen alive in her palace in Alexandria. But just hours later, she vanished. No confirmed body, no known tomb, not even a clear location for her final moments. Was it her wish to fade into legend, or was something deeper at play? A betrayal, a hidden ritual, or a carefully crafted deception? Curiously, ancient sources say Cleopatra arranged her own burial long before her death, as though she sensed the end approaching. So why has no one ever found her remains? A clue may lie in a centuries-old letter discovered in Roman archives. It claims Cleopatra's body was secretly moved, and then the trail goes cold. The body has disappeared. After Cleopatra's death, Egypt's independence ended. The Romans took control, and with them came a systematic erasure of the past. Temples were looted, statues destroyed, texts burned. Some believe Cleopatra's body was hidden, or even destroyed, by the Romans to prevent anyone from reviving her cult or challenging their rule. Others think her loyal priestesses spirited her remains away to a sacred hidden place, one known only to a chosen few. Yet strangely, not a single trace has ever been found. No confirmed sarcophagus, no funerary shroud. This is unprecedented. We're not talking about a forgotten figure, but a queen who reshaped history itself. If her body was hidden, who knew the location? And why was it kept secret? There is one haunting theory, less about the body, more about the heart. According to legend, Cleopatra and Mark Antony were the lover's final wish. Mark Antony died by suicide almost at the same time as Cleopatra. Their love story, passionate, doomed, and dramatic, reads like something out of a Greek tragedy. But there's a lesser-known detail that even many scholars overlook. In letters written by the Roman general Lucius, there's a mention of Antony's final request, to be buried beside Cleopatra. And according to a mysterious parchment discovered in the archives of the Vatican Library, that wish may have been granted. In Ptolemaic tradition, royal burials weren't just graves, they were sacred sanctuaries. Only someone of extraordinary importance could be laid to rest in such a tomb. Whispers of divine rituals and secret cults swirl around this mystery, and the Temple of Isis at Taposiris Magna fits the description perfectly. Artifacts unearthed in its underground chambers hint at not one, but two royal burials. One sarcophagus, based on its markings and placement, appears to have belonged to a man. The other, crafted for a woman of the highest status. Is this mere coincidence? Or could it be that Cleopatra and Mark Antony were truly laid to rest side by side, as they had once dreamed? To answer that question, we return to the woman who has dedicated her life to uncovering the truth. Kathleen Martinez, the obsessed archaeologist. A Cuban-born archaeologist, Kathleen Martinez once walked away from a successful career in law, choosing instead to chase an ancient mystery. At first, few took her seriously. She had no formal background in archaeology, and her theory, That she knew the location of Cleopatra's lost tomb was dismissed as fantasy. But she didn't give up. Through years of research, poring over the writings of Plutarch, decoding ancient Egyptian symbols, and aligning historical records with astronomical data, Kathleen reached a groundbreaking conclusion. Cleopatra's tomb is hidden at Taposiris Magna. Egyptian officials laughed at first, but then came the first pieces of real evidence, fragments of statues, jewelry buried in forgotten chambers, and the world began to listen. Coins and clues. Among the many discoveries were coins bearing Cleopatra's image, tangible proof that this was more than legend. Kathleen Martinez has spent over 15 years on this excavation. She has personally descended into the dark, crumbling tunnels, faced setbacks, and endured disappointments. But she never gave up. The Greek inscription spoke of an eternal queen whose spirit guards the entrance. This discovery raised a bold possibility that these women were part of Cleopatra's secret burial ritual. And perhaps they were the only ones who knew where her true tomb lies. False trails and broken hopes. But not everyone who searched found the truth. Many were led astray, chasing whispers and shadows. The quest to find Cleopatra's tomb is littered with false leads. Hundreds of expeditions, tens of millions of dollars, thousands of tons of sand and rock moved, all in search of a hope that seemed to vanish just as quickly as it appeared. One of the most sensational discoveries came in the mid-20th century near Alexandria. A tomb was found, a woman buried with royal honors, wearing a massive gold crown. The world erupted. "This is Cleopatra," the headlines read. Excitement swept through the scientific community until DNA tests revealed the truth. The remains belonged to an unknown priestess who had lived centuries before Cleopatra. There were many such disappointments. Each one cost time, resources, and faith. But every wrong turn also helped refine the search. Every failed dig narrowed the map, and sometimes even a mistake can whisper a truth, especially when it sounds like a voice calling from the past. A voice in stone. During recent excavations in the southern wing of the temple, archaeologists stumbled upon a small, forgotten chamber. Voice from the past. At first, it was thought to be nothing more than a storage room, but as archaeologists stepped inside, they found the walls covered in engraved texts, written in both Greek and Demotic script. Among them were rare personal messages, letters addressed to a mysterious figure known as the Mistress of Life and Death. One passage in particular left experts stunned. It spoke of a woman who had cheated death and journeyed to a place where the moon shines through the stone. Some researchers believe this poetic phrase could be a metaphor, possibly referring to an underground chamber lit by moonlight passing through star-aligned ventilation shafts. If true, it would suggest that Cleopatra wasn't buried simply as a queen, but as a high priestess, someone initiated into sacred celestial knowledge. In that case, her tomb wouldn't just be a burial site, it would be a sanctuary, guarding something far greater than physical remains. What could such a place be hiding? If Cleopatra's tomb is ever found, it wouldn't just be a historical triumph. It could become one of the greatest archaeological discoveries of all time. What lies inside the tomb? Finding Cleopatra's tomb would be one of the most significant moments in human history, but it's not just the discovery itself that matters. What truly sparks the imagination is what might be hidden inside Cleopatra's tomb. Experts believe it could hold more than just her remains, perhaps scrolls, lost writings, even remnants of the legendary Library of Alexandria. Some think a ritual mirror made of gold and obsidian may be buried there, a gateway to the afterlife in ancient belief. But beyond the treasures, the real discovery could be the truth. For centuries, Cleopatra was reduced to a myth, a seductress. But she was so much more: a strategist, a scholar, a ruler. Finding her tomb could challenge history itself, forcing us to rethink power, legacy, and how the ancient world viewed strong women. This is more than archaeology. It's a chance to see the past through Cleopatra's eyes and finally tell her real story. Every artifact uncovered at Taposiris Magna brings us closer to solving a mystery 2,000 years old. But the final answer remains hidden, just out of reach. as if Cleopatra herself still guards her truth, waiting for the right moment to be found. And that moment may be closer than ever. Because the real story of Cleopatra is only just beginning. Today, she believes they are closer than ever to uncovering the truth. Still, despite progress, access to the temple's lower levels remains restricted. Why? It all comes down to what lies beneath, and one particularly mysterious section of the site. The secret beneath the temple. Beneath Taposiris Magna lies a vast network of hand-carved tunnels stretching over a mile through solid rock. Many sections have collapsed or are partially submerged, but it was within these shadowy corridors that archaeologists began to find strange clues, stone slabs etched with symbols that didn't match traditional Egyptian burial practices. They discovered an unusual mix of Egyptian hieroglyphs and Greek script, along with carvings of double tridents and crescent moons. None of it fit with known religious customs of the time. One of the tunnels leads to a sealed-off chamber. At its entrance is a haunting carving, a priestess holding a vessel, possibly filled with poison. Some believe it may be a symbolic reference to Cleopatra's death. Even more unsettling, the deeper the team went, the stranger things became. Radio equipment stopped working. Cameras malfunctioned. It was as if the space had a will of its own. Several attempts were made to force entry into a particular passage, but each effort failed under mysterious circumstances. Some began to believe the tunnel was protecting something humanity wasn't yet meant to find. And yet, a few years ago, researchers managed to reach one of the sealed chambers. What they found behind a limestone wall was a small, hidden room, undisturbed for centuries. The hidden room. After 9 long years of searching, one of the archaeologists finally managed to open the hidden chamber. Inside, the room was almost empty, silent and undisturbed. There was a single altar, a stone sarcophagus, and walls covered with engraved images, all tied to the cult of Isis and Osiris. But the most remarkable discovery was 3 unusual objects, none of which had ever been seen in a traditional Egyptian burial. A gold medallion engraved with the double profile of a man and a woman, a delicate crystal vessel filled with an aromatic liquid, and a stone tablet inscribed in Greek with the words, "Together forever." Was this a doorway to the tomb itself? Or a sacred memorial created to honor 2 legendary figures? Kathleen Martinez is convinced it's a vestibule, the entrance to the final resting place. But others believe it may be a distraction, a red herring, especially in light of the strange disappearances that surround the site. The Roman Purge. After Cleopatra's death and the fall of Egypt, Octavian, soon to become Augustus, launched a widespread campaign to erase her from history. Archives were rewritten, statues were destroyed. Her name was chiseled out of temple walls. She wasn't just removed from power, she was erased from memory. Some historians now believe the Romans may have found Cleopatra's tomb, and rather than preserve it, they destroyed it. That could explain why no Roman records mention her burial site, as if it never existed. But this theory has a major flaw. If the Romans had truly destroyed her tomb, why did they preserve so many other records and details about the Egyptian kings and queens? Why erase only Cleopatra? Another theory suggests the Romans never found her, that her loyal priestesses may have hidden her body in a secret sanctuary, far from reach, even from Roman legions. Or the Romans did find it, and buried the truth along with her. And now, after centuries of silence, fragments of that long-hidden truth may finally be rising back to the surface. Priestesses and sacred symbols. Among the temple's most puzzling discoveries were the tombs of high-ranking women, buried with royal honors. Archaeologists believe these may have been priestesses of the temple, devoted to the cult of Isis. But these weren't ordinary religious figures. Their sarcophagi bore symbols once thought to be exclusive to the ruling Ptolemaic dynasty. This suggests a deeper connection. Perhaps they were relatives of Cleopatra herself, or at the very least, members of her inner circle. On one sarcophagus, an especially striking scene was carved. 2 women holding a snake and a staff above their heads, encircled by stars and the moon. Some experts believe this is more than a decorative image. It might be a coded message, hinting at a sacrifice, a magical ritual, or a sacred transition into the afterlife. But the most astonishing find came from beneath one of these sarcophagi, a hidden cache containing ancient amulets, pendants, and a fragile piece of parchment.